What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Oh. This is going to be your review for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 4. Nope. It is not Beverly Hills. It is the Real Housewives of Dallas season 4, episode 4. So the ladies are day 2 in Mexico, and they end up having a conversation about LeAnn, of course, sharing her story. Now, Brandy and LeAnn are in a better place, but Brandy's thing is, of course, LeAnn found an opportunity to tell her story because there was somebody new in the group who didn't know her story. And y'all know how shady Bravo is, so you know they went back to all 3 seasons where LeAnn told her story, right? Um, she tells Carrie, look, don't worry about it. That's just LeAnn. And to Brandy's credit, she really didn't do a lot. She did not badmouth LeAnn in that moment. Now, in her confessional, she was shady. But to Carrie, she did not badmouth LeAnn to Carrie. She just told Carrie, look, that's just who LeAnn is. LeAnn is. Don't worry about it. Don't dwell on it. Don't let yourself get upset by it. Now, Stephanie is a little bit bothered by it because she said that talking about suicide and so forth, it triggers something within her. And it really made her feel some kind of way. So she's kind of having a moment, and we're gonna see later on in the episode how that kind of plays itself out. So the ladies are going to go to a polo match, and then they are going to go to, it's called the Bowl. It's called the Bowl del Sol. Now, I don't remember a lot of my Spanish, but I remember that means a sun bowl, right? Del Sol bowl, the sun bowl. And that's exactly what it is. It is a huge meditation bowl. So we'll get to that. And then they're going to go out to dinner. Let me tell you what I love about Dallas. I'm looking at these ladies. Now, I'm pretty sure that these ladies were wearing some labels, right? I'm sure that they were wearing some expensive labels. I saw some Tom Ford sunglasses. I saw some Gucci sunglasses. I saw some Gucci tennis shoes. But I look at them. Those ladies had on nice, comfortable, go out to hang out outfits. They were not trying to impress nobody. They were not trying to dress to the nines. They were not trying to put runway fashions, okay? And I always thought you dressed up for polo, so that's what I was kind of waiting for, like sundress and big hats. I guess I was thinking Pretty Woman. Me and Stephanie were both thinking Pretty Woman, honey, when she said polo. But they were really laid back, and all I could think in my mind was compared to like the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because they could be going to, the dump, and they gonna have on couture, okay, or couture-esque. So before they left, they were going to do the stairs. They were going to do some exercising. Everybody participated except for LeAnn. Now, Carrie got a little offended by that. Carrie said, I'm the host, and you should do what I want you to do. Now, let me say this. I agreed with you last week with the whole, which room you should stay in the room that the host chose for you and all of that. But as far as them running up and down them steps, they didn't just do it once, they did it twice. Now remember last week, that's 200 and something steps. They didn't just do it once. I know I said that, but I just need to say it one more time. They did it twice. I'm with LeAnn. I ain't running up and down no damn steps. I'm on vacation. Have you lost your mind? So on that one, I didn't necessarily think LeAnn was being rude. If exercise isn't her thing and she didn't want to do it, again, people might have their own reasons for not wanting to run up and down some steps. It could be physical. It could just be I don't feel like it. That ain't my idea of a good time. I will wait for y'all. Let me go and, let me go do some work. Let me go journal. I got a wedding in 4 weeks. Let me go take care of some business. But anyway, so they get to the polo field, honey, and the ladies it's a private match. Because when they first got there, I was thinking, well, this is kind of empty looking. But it's a private match that Carrie arranged specifically for the ladies to enjoy. Now, we found out that Cameron's father was actually a professional polo player, and she actually grew up around the game of polo. So, of course, she says she's very comfortable. We found out that Brandy and her husband at one time owned an equestrian center in Dallas. So, she's right at home with the horses. LeAnn is very quiet. She was very quiet. So when the ladies get there, because they've been drinking the whole day, honey, the ladies get there and they have to go to the bathroom. Though none of them make it to the bathroom, they all end up going behind a truck and doing what they have to do. Now, let me tell you something. There is not a woman, I would be hard pressed to find a woman who has never found herself in this situation. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And I agree with Cameron. Cameron said, look, you pee outside, you get up and you just never speak on it again. It is what it is. Sometimes you just got to make it do what it do. So when the ladies had gone out to the bathroom, it actually left LeAnn and Deandra together. And she ended up letting LeAnn know that she offended Carrie. And LeAnn said, well, I didn't know I offended her. I mean, she said that was her room. So she made me feel like I wasn't wanted in the room. She said, this is my room, blah, blah, blah. And when they played the tape back, because y'all know how Bravo is, that is what she said. Now, she went on to further say that she wanted LeAnn to join her in her room. But the first thing out of her mouth was, this is my room. This is where I stay. So, but again, at the end of the day, LeAnn, she did ask you to stay in her room and you said no. So we can split hairs on that all we want. But at the end of the day, you chose to not stay where the host asked you to stay. And so LeAnn was like, well, I didn't realize I offended her. It wasn't meant to be offensive. I will apologize. But she didn't the whole day. She never said anything the whole day. We'll get there, though. So the ladies are drunk. Okay? We already know that Brandy can throw them back. Okay? Brandy is a little tipsy. Deandra is drunk. There's no nice or pretty way of saying it. Deandra is drunk. And at a certain point, Brandy and Stephanie end up having a moment. And Stephanie lets Brandy know that the whole suicide piece has her feeling kind of weird. It's not really sitting right with her. And her and Stephanie have a heart-to-heart. They are best friends. And they're not sharing a room. So the moments where they probably could have that conversation, they didn't have that. And so, of course, the group sort of had a conversation about, see, there they go. You know, they are best friends, blah, blah, blah. And that's what Carrie was saying. Carrie was like, well, that's why I wanted us to stay in different rooms with people we wouldn't normally room with for this exact reason. Let's get to know each other. Let's spend some time with each other, you know. And I don't know. LeAnn seemed to feel kind of funny about it. I mean, but she didn't say anything, so I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she did seem like she was a little, you know. And then Cameron was talking about how she was really enjoying bunking with Stephanie. She was getting to know her, and LeAnn didn't look too happy about that either, because, you know, Cameron is her ride or die. You know that, right? So that was the polo match, okay? The other thing now this is where Brandy started getting a little bit shady. When she was talking to Stephanie, they were talking about LeAnn sharing her story. And Brandy was like, you know, LeAnn uses that to manipulate people. She uses it for sympathy, and she uses it as an excuse for her bad behavior. And she does. Because every time LeAnn gets called on the carpet about something, one of the first things out of her mouth is she wants to talk about how hard her life is and how she hasn't had things handed to her. Her mama didn't want her, and like she does. And again, I'm not negating that she had a horrible childhood, but boo, you like 50-something years old. You've been in therapy. I'm going to need you to use those tools. Or find another therapist, because it ain't working. Anyway. So they go to the Sun Bowl. That's what it's called. And it looks like it is a nice experience. They have a couple of spiritual healers there with them that sort of walk them through a meditation exercise. And everybody came out of it feeling like Deandra was crying, and everybody comes out of it like they feel like they had a nice experience, except for Cameron. Cameron was like, yeah, I don't feel nothing. Like, I don't feel any different, you know. But again, it's all about meditation isn't for everybody, and you may not feel anything. You may not get anything out of it. You know what I mean? For some people, yoga is a spiritual awakening for them. For me, I was like, I can't. Nope, it's not doing nothing for me. I tried yoga. I tried Pilates. Don't do nothing for me. So the ladies leave there, and then they end up going to dinner. By this time, Deandra is beyond drunk. See, she was tipsy before they left the house. She was drunk when they got to Polo. Now she is beyond drunk. So they get to the restaurant and Brandy, because the restaurant has a low ceiling, Brandy jumps on the table barefoot and begins dancing. Cameron jumps up there with her and joins in. Cameron says, I don't really have a problem with dancing on tables, but I'm getting ready to eat on this table that you just got on with your bare nasty feet. And her feet were nasty. I'm with Cameron on this one. That was, when I saw her do it, I remember thinking, that is the nastiest. Why are you on the table that I'm getting ready to eat on? Well, I mean, it wouldn't have been any better if you had on your sneakers, but you are barefoot. Yuck. And that's going to come back. I'm going to bring that back up in a minute. So they end up ordering their lunch or whatever. And Carrie and Cameron are bonding over food and everything. And LeAnn is looking, she don't like that. So she didn't like it earlier when Cameron said that she was bonding with Stephanie. She doesn't like to see that Cameron is bonding with Carrie because in her mind, Cameron is her friend. That's her ride or die. Or at least the person that has her back. She don't want to lose that support. So, Deandra, being the drunk person that she is, she starts yelling that LeAnn needs to talk and apologize to Carrie. And LeAnn said, okay, I was going to do it later, one-on-one. And Carrie, can I talk to you now? Let's go talk. I'm going to pull you aside. Deandra says, no! You talk to her right here. And she tells Carrie, you sit your ass back down and you talk to her now, right here. And I'm thinking, oh, this trick crazy. She drunk as hell. And LeAnn yells back and is like, oh, so because you decide that we need to have this conversation here at the table, that's what we need to do? Now, once Deandra explained her reasoning, it did make sense. Her reasoning was, part of the problem with this group is that everybody talks in a pocket instead of talking around everybody else. So then it ends up being a he say, she say thing. So rather than, let's avoid all of that and let's just talk about it and get it out in the open here. I wouldn't disagree with that if it were a group issue. That's not a group issue. That's a LeAnn Carrie issue. So it didn't need to be discussed, in my opinion, at the table. But they did. They talked it out at the table. LeAnn apologized. She tried to make an excuse. And when she tried to make an excuse, Brandy said to her, just basically, she was like, LeAnn, just own it. Like, that's not what she said. She never said that. Just own it. Now, I told y'all Bravo played it back, and that is what she said. But she continued to say more. But she did initially say, this is my room and this is where I stay. So, anyway, tomato at that point. Well, then, because like I said, they drunk. So then, but they squashed it. I mean, they squashed it. So somehow or another, Brandy gets to yelling at Cameron. And Brandy stands up and she's yelling at Cameron and she's pointing and she cusses at Cameron. Y'all know Cameron ain't built like that. Cameron ended up throwing her napkin at Brandy and calling her trash. And she said, I'm not doing that. She's trash. I'm not doing that. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. You don't get to piss me off and then tell me how mad to get. Brandy, you started that with Cameron. You stood up. You pointed your finger, you yelled at her, you cussed at her. You don't get to get offended because of what her comeback was. And if her comeback was that you're trash, you don't get to internalize it now and get upset about it. You don't get to do that. I'm not mad at what Cameron said. And you know what, Brandy? You were acting like trash by jumping up on that table in your bare damn feet, dancing on the same table I gotta eat on. That was trashy. I'm sorry. I like Brandy. I do. But Brandy, you do have some very unsociety-like behavior. You do, and you always have, going back to season 1. That has always been the criticism of you going back to season 1, that you don't know how to act in public, period. You don't. You don't. And I like you, Brandy, but you don't know how to act in public. And you know that Cameron is very much high society, raised a certain way, what's not acceptable, and how to act in public. And so you can't be mad at her because her go-to is that you're trash. Because, yeah, she's called you trash before. Yeah, that's her go-to. Her go-to is trash. That's how they got into the argument, because they got to arguing over whose idea it was to be in what room. It was a stupid argument. But let me tell you what, though. Cameron shut that shit down. So when they got into the argument, Cameron ended up leaving the room because Cameron said, I'm not doing this. Nope, I'm not doing this. So Carrie went after Cameron and, tried to talk to her and tried to calm her down or whatever. And Brandy walks off. And Stephanie ends up going over to Cameron. Stephanie's thing is, yes, Brandy's my friend and I love Brandy, but my sympathy tends to go to the person that I feel like is the most upset. And right now I feel like Cameron is the most upset. And so that's who I felt like I needed to go and talk to. Now, while this is all going on, LeAnn and Deandra somehow are back at the table again together, and Deandra is just drunk as hell. It's not cute. I enjoy a good cocktail as much as the next person, but being sloppy drunk in public just ain't cute. It just ain't. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It ain't cute. You know what I mean? So they get back to the house, and Cameron and Brandy, they sort of apologized, but it really wasn't a sincere apology. They still were upset with each other. Deandra is still drunk as hell. They had to put her bathing. She wanted to go swimming. Now, I don't know why they thought that letting a drunk person get in a pool was a good idea, but she never even made it to the water, honey. But they had to literally put her bathing suit on her. Like a little kid. You know how when you're a little kid and you putting their pants on and you you kind of pull it all the way up to all they got to do is just put their foot in and then you pull the pants up. Like, literally, that's what they were doing with her bathing suit, honey. It was a mess. It was a whole drunken mess. So, Brandy is in the pool talking to Carrie and basically explaining to Carrie why she's still upset at Cameron for what Cameron said. And basically what Brandy is saying is, I grew up being called white trash because I lived in a trailer. People didn't let their kids come over my house because I lived in a trailer, and they called me trailer park trash and white trash. And so when somebody calls me trash, it really triggers a lot of emotions for me. So again, I say, stop acting like trash. And 2, you're internalizing it. Like, so if she had called you a bitch, you'd have been cool. It was because she called you trash that you're upset. Because again, you came for her. She didn't come for you. She responded, and now you're mad at her response. So they end up calling Cameron over to where they are, and Brandy basically explains all that to Cameron, and Cameron was like, well, look, I wasn't calling you trash. I was calling your behavior trashy. Now, Cameron, don't be pee and poo-poo. Don't backpedal and pussy pop. You were calling her trash, and you meant it. Now, maybe you should just apologize, but you meant it. So then Cameron says, well, basically she's like, I can't believe that you over here and you trying to play victim now. Like, you're not the victim in this. And again, I agree with Cameron. You're not the victim, Brandy. You started it. And just because Cameron, I guess, isn't responding the way you want her to respond, or what, I'm not even sure what you even mad about at this point. But you started it, and Cameron is what she said, and you know how Cameron feels. Honey, Cameron got up and went on by her little merry little way and took her happy ass to bed. So now Stephanie's pissed off. Because Stephanie's thing is, I'm mad at Cameron because she called Brandy trash and something else she mad about. And now she don't want to share a room with Cameron. Honey, it's so ridiculous to me. It's so ridiculous to me because I'm like, once again, you don't get to piss somebody off and then tell them how mad to get. I'm sorry, you just don't get to do it. You just don't get to do it. And in this case, and y'all know I very seldom side with Cameron, but on this case, I don't think Cameron did anything wrong. I mean, was she Was the comment hurtful? Yes, I'm sure the comment was hurtful. Should she have said it? Maybe not. But again, Brandy, you came for her and she responded. So it wasn't an unsolicited attack. I'm sorry. And, but Brandy was very upset. I mean, she was crying. She was very emotional. She was very upset. So that's pretty much where this episode ended, honey. We'll see where this picks up next week, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. I'm sure y'all will. Drop it in them comments. Peace.